So welcome to the Helix webinar series. Today's session is focusing on smart reporting to Helix Dashboards. We have run quite a lot of these calls over the last 14 or so months. This is likely to be our last session. Fortunately, I can say that we've managed to migrate a lot of our customers. So hopefully you'll find this session is going to be very useful today. We're going to be covering a lot of the topics that you may have questions to. Before I hand over to Nikhil, who will start us off with the introduction and also introduce the team, at the end we will have time for Q&A, but what I would ask for the first part, if you could put your questions into the Q&A section of Zoom, you'll find that at the bottom of the screen. We will try to answer those questions during the session today, and joining us is Ajinka and Abhinay and also Nikhil himself, and we will have that time at the end. Once we finish the session, we will be posting out the recording, we will be sharing the Q&A, and if you do have any questions further after then, please reach out to us. So Nikhil, I know there's a lot to cover. I'm going to hand over to you to get us started.
Thank you, Sam. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all our webinar participants from wherever in the world you're joining us from. I'm Nikhil Deshpande. I'm a product manager for Helix Dashboards, and I'm excited to be here to present one more session or one more workshop on migrating from smart reporting to Helix Dashboards. We've been running this workshop for almost a year and a half, and it's surprising that even now we get such a good attendance. The workshop is so engaging. There's so many questions around the transition. We have also seen that in the past quarter, more than 170 of our customers have successfully transitioned over from smart reporting to Helix Dashboards. And it's encouraging, the feedback that we've received from customers. The questions that we received are regarding the migration process. So these workshops have helped customers to successfully transition over and start adopting Helix Dashboards. This could possibly it could possibly be our last workshop. In the future, if any of your colleagues want to attend this workshop, it will be available as a recording on BMC community. I'm joined by my colleagues Abhinay and Ajinkya, and we're going to cover this process of migrating from smart reporting to Helix Dashboards. So this is our agenda. We'll talk about Helix Dashboards, why it's the best dashboarding solution for BMC Helix products. We'll talk about the best practices for migrating reports. When you go about, what does that project of migrating reports from smart reporting to dashboards look like? What are the best practices? What tools has BMC Helix made available to facilitate this transition? We'll discuss all of that. There will be a product demo of Visual Query Builder, which is a visual drag and drop tool that we've designed and delivered in the product last year that completely removes the need to understand or be able to write SQL or ITSM forms to build reports. We'll also cover the product roadmap, and at the end, there will be time for Q&A. If you're joining this workshop, these are the prerequisite training courses available on BMC Academy. You should have already taken these courses. If you haven't, then please do so immediately. These are usually paid courses. However, for all those who register for this workshop, we grant you free access to these courses. Both of them are web-based training courses, and they help you understand the fundamentals of Helix Dashboards as well as the fundamentals of the migration process. We'll not be covering fundamentals in this workshop. We'll cover things that are not covered in those WBTs. Legal notice, since we'll be talking about the product roadmap, please be aware that this is our plan, but please do not make any purchase decisions based on the product roadmap. Please do so based on product features that are generally available. So let's start with Helix Dashboards. And before that, let's step back and understand service ops. If you've been a BMC Helix customer for long, then you've probably already heard of this term service ops. So what exactly is it? And are you ready for service ops? For far too long, within IT organizations, there have existed broadly two functional units. There's the service desk or service management, and there's IT operations management. Service management deals with service desk operations, incidents, problems, changes, assets, CMDB, and so on. And the operations management org deals with infrastructure, events, metrics, capacity, and so on. And in the past, there have been these two organizations have worked in silos. The walls between these two units are not conducive for IT organizations to realize their goals. In today's world, for IT organizations to be successful, they need to enable their customers, whether they are external customers or their internal customers, their businesses, their business units, to be successful and be able to successfully compete with established enterprises as well as nimble startups. And for this, it's essential that service management and operations management must work as one cohesive whole. BMC Helix solutions enable you to do that. In this new paradigm, we leverage AI. We look at DevOps and how we can facilitate the DevOps movement rather than be a hindrance to that movement. In the past few years, we are also aware how service management is no longer limited just to IT processes. The same processes can now be adopted and are being adopted in a big way by all those organizations, internal organizations that are in the business of serving internal customers. So think of facilities, HR, finance, and so on. And these lines of business want to adopt the same service management principles that IT organizations have used for the past few decades. Service ops enables them to take advantage of all of the best practices of IT service management and adapt them to lines of business. We've also seen how the DevOps movement has caught on in more than the past 10 years or so. Software development is no longer limited to the four walls of the IT function. Today, many lines of business write their own software and they expect IT to cooperate with them and enable them to innovate at a rapid pace. Service ops encompasses the DevOps movement also, and it enables IT organizations and DevOps teams, nimble DevOps teams, to work together for the betterment of the organization. Now let's talk about Helix Dashboards. What is Helix Dashboards? It's a dashboarding solution that's built on top of Grafana open source. Grafana is established as a leading observability dashboarding tool for the past several years. We have adopted Grafana and we have designed extensions to Grafana to make it usable for service management products. So Helix Dashboards isn't just Grafana rebranded as Helix Dashboards. There's IP that BMC has created. We have extended the capabilities of Grafana, especially in areas like scheduling and exporting, which are so critical in service management. And if you look at the broad spectrum of solutions that BMC Helix offers, there are needs to visualize data around service management processes like incident, problem, change, asset, CMDB, and so on, as well as the ITOM solutions, AI ops, discovery, capacity optimization. With BMC Helix dashboards, this is one tool that you will use to create dashboards across the entire spectrum of BMC Helix products. We've delivered an extensive set of out-of-the-box dashboards that you can use. And what we have seen over the past few years is that customers often use these dashboards more to understand how to develop dashboards, to understand the data sources, and how to build dashboards on Helix data sources. Most customers copy these dashboards and create their own custom copies and adapt them to their needs, which often involves customizing them. Oftentimes, we see that most ITSM customers have customized their ITSM implementation with custom forms, fields. Sometimes there are custom apps that they have developed on Innovation Studio. And Helix Dashboards is one tool that enables you to develop dashboards on all of these, the entire spectrum of BMC Helix service management and operations management products. The good news is Helix Dashboards is available with all BMC Helix solutions. So why is dashboards the right solution for you? It's it the strength of Helix Dashboards is the ability to visualize data that meets almost all needs of service management and operations management. So this is one common reporting system, one centralized system that you will use to build dashboards for everything in BMC Helix. Remember, one of the pillars of service ops is the ability to drive outcomes in one domain based on processes that happen in the other domain. So, for example, you look at events or situations in operations management impacting CMDB or incidents in service management. With Helix dashboards, you can bring everything together in one dashboard. And that is the unique capability that only Helix dashboards has. Other reporting solutions don't have it, and certainly not smart reporting. Helix Dashboards is available for all of these service ops solutions, all of these BMC Helix products. On the service management, you see everything from ITSM, CMDB, digital workplace, business workflows, live chat. If you have developed any custom applications using ARS or Innovation Suite, you can use Helix Dashboards there, as well as on the operations management side, whatever products you have from operations management, you can use Helix dashboards across all of these BMC Helix solutions. Now let's look at a few out-of-the-box dashboards that are shipped with the product. Let's start with the first one. This is a digital workplace request overview dashboard. The service catalog team needs insights. They need visibility into service requests, into the demand for IT services, how many services are being raised, how many are being fulfilled, what's the throughput of services, how many, what's the aging of service requests. One of the responsibilities of the service desk management team is to staff their service desk. Some businesses, some companies have seasonal businesses, so there may be an exceptionally high level of activity at certain times of the year. How do they make sure that their service desks are adequately staffed to be able to handle the workload at all these peak periods? This dashboard gives your service desk team visibility into what's happening with the service catalog or with service requests. So it shows you submission trends, fulfillment trends. You can look at the top requested categories, the top requested services, the top sites where you are receiving requests from, and all the other relevant metrics that service desk requires. They're all available on this dashboard. I talked about service ops and the unique ability of BMC Helix dashboards to bring service management and operations management together on one dashboard. The service dashboard is an example of how we do it. This is one dashboard that shows you key metrics across service management and operations management. So you see health scores, situations, availability, you see open events, outages, you see incident age, and then look at that time series at the center, health score, events, and incidents. This chart shows you incidents from service management along with health score and events from operations management, allowing you to correlate the two. This is the strength of service ops, and this is the unique capability of Helix dashboards to provide you these insights. You cannot get these insights using smart reporting. With Helix dashboards, as we have worked with customers over the years, we have realized the unique needs that are specific to service management, especially ITSM. And we have delivered more than what Grafana ships out of the box. We have delivered visualizations that are apt for BMC Helix service management solutions. For example, there's all of these visualizations that you see that are prefixed with BMC. These are all the ones that we have developed based on customer feedback. So see everything from BMC crosstab, BMC record details, BMC table, and so on. All of these are being extensively used by our customers. With Helix dashboards, you can be sure that you will have the skills necessary to develop dashboards. Grafana is a proven technology for dashboards, and you will easily find resources or people with Grafana skills in the job market. If you wish to hire uh, developers who have these skills, you will have these skills in the job market. If you want to retrain your existing data analysts or report developers, that's possible too. If your team is familiar with some existing tools such as smart reporting, they can get up to speed with Helix dashboards fairly quickly. BMC's IT organization takes advantage of Helix dashboards. And now I'm going to show you a few dashboards that they have developed. So these are all dashboards that BMC IT extensively uses. The first one is a CIO dashboard, very apt for the CIO and other senior IT leaders, where you see a number of metrics on one dashboard. There are several metrics around severity, outages, business services, technical services. You see breakdown of outages by business services, technical services, and all other key metrics that are important for IT leaders are all shown on this one dashboard. This one is a vCenter overview dashboard. If you use VMware vCenter, then you want to you want to have a dashboard that allows your infrastructure team to have a good overview, good visibility into your vCenter estate. This dashboard does exactly that. So you can get visibility into the availability, the total clusters, how many data stores are in use, as well as visibility into the key clusters of importance to your organization. Apart from other key metrics like CPU utilization, memory utilization, and so on. Gauges are a visualization that are most appropriate to visualize any metric that's of the nature of a percentage. So, for example, take availability. You would expect the availability of business services or IT services to be 100% or almost 100%. But what is it actually in your organization? You can use this dashboard to get an overview of the application availability. This is an incident aging analysis dashboard. The service desk team requires visibility into what's going on with incidents. An established best practice in service management or in service desk is that in order to ensure that you have satisfied customers, you need to ensure that incidents are resolved quickly and to the satisfaction of users. And to do that, you need to have a good handle over work in progress. In the service desk, work in progress is the number of open incidents, open tickets. So this dashboard shows you a breakdown of your open tickets in various time buckets, less than a week to 2 weeks, more than 4 weeks, and so on. It also shows you a breakdown of your open incidents by different teams. So if there's any team that's overwhelmed with too many incidents, then you know that that team needs help and you can focus your service improvement initiatives to that specific team or to a specific business service and so on. If you see that the number of reassignment of incidents count is high, which is shown by one of the panels on this dashboard, that also indicates a potential problem that of lack of ownership of incidents, and you can proactively take action to ensure that any issues in that area uh, are handled appropriately. With that, we now come to the next part of this workshop, which deals with migrating from smart reporting to Helix dashboards. For that, I'm going to hand off to Abhinay.
Thank you, Nikhil. Hello, everyone. I'm Abhinay. I'm a senior practice manager with professional services at PMC. And among the product lines that I manage, Helix Dashboard is one of the two. And we provide a bi-directional channel to product team. All the field feedback from all of you, we pass it back to product team, and all the best practices that come out of our product team and R&D, we establish those best practices around the product implementation. With that, let me share my screen. Please let me know, Nikhil, when you are able to say.
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we have listened to Nikhil talk about why Helix Dashboard is uh, such a good fit for our age use cases of service ops, the overlap between the ITSM and ITOM world. And we have seen some of the good features. Now let us discuss how we can reach there. So if you're using smart reporting, or for that matter, any reporting tool, how you can move over to Helix Dashboard. So we'll talk about a migration framework based on the best practices that we use for implementing this transition. Um, and then we'll go over some of the key steps, including assessing your current smart reporting usage. We'll stitch everything together and show you a sample migration strategy, how you can create a plan for this entire migration. We'll also go over some of the learnings from the field, something that we have seen across other customers. All right, so here is a 5-phased framework that I would recommend that we follow when we are planning this migration. It starts with a prepare phase. If you are attending this, most likely you are in this phase right now. This is where you are trying to understand uh, what the new platform is, how it differs from the old platform, what are the feature overlaps or feature mapping, and what is it that you need to do to get there, right? It involves sessions like this one. It involves some of the training. So Nikhil talked about the prerequisite to two prerequisites that we recommend before coming to this webinar. So those trainings, and there are a few others available. So all of this uh, is your prepare phase. Once you have that foundation, once you know where we are, where we are trying to go, and what is the difference, then we get into the planning phase, which is where we need to get more finer details. So we need to understand how we are using the current tool, right? What features we are using, what are the quantities of all of these different feature set. So usage assessment of smart reporting. Next comes how to you cannot do everything at the same time. So we need to identify what are the top priority reports, and how we can filter some of the ones out, and we focus only on the priority reports. Once we have done all of this, we have a plan to go in and do the migration. The next two phases, migrate and validate, they go hand in hand iteratively. So you migrate the reports that you have, see whether those reports make sense for your end customers. It could be different teams that are consuming your reports. And then that feedback goes back to the migration team until everything looks good. Once everything is good, we are in transition phase, which is where we are going live with the new reports, cutting over from the old reports, asking users to start using the new ones. And if you have somebody, some external team helping you, be it BMC professional services or a partner, then that also includes a post-go live support, knowledge transfer, how it was done, documenting, and so on. All right. So with that, let's get into the first important step in planning phase, which is assessment. Now, like I said, first thing to understand would be how the two platforms map to each other. And the first thing you should understand is in smart reporting world, you had different object types, you had different type of reports, you had co-displays, you had multiple reports with multiple visualizations, single visualizations. You had dashboards separately, which could where you could link different reports. But if you take a look at Helix dashboard, everything is a dashboard. It can have one or more panels on it. So that sets the stage how you think about the reporting in general, and also how you are going to plan your migration. So any object type on the smart reporting world which had multiple visualizations, be it co-display or a report with multiple charts in it or a dashboard, will all map to a Helix dashboard, which has multiple panels in it, right? And the other key features have something very similar on the dashboard side. So broadcast to schedules, drill down, drill through to links. So there's something similar, but you would also notice the migration utility doesn't support all of them, for the simple reason the two platforms are built on different technology, and there is not always one-to-one mapping that can be automated. All right. Now, the next mapping that we need to understand is the mapping between the visualizations. All the most commonly used visualizations will have something similar on both sides. So when you are moving from smart reporting to Helix dashboard and you're using some type of bar chart, could be horizontal bar chart, 3D bar chart, vertical, and so on, all of it maps to a bar chart on Helix dashboard, but then you can configure it how it shows up to your liking. So similarly, they'll have there would be something corresponding to what you had in smart reporting, but in some cases, you may find there's nothing similar on the new platform. So, like for example, thermometer that doesn't have something exactly same on the Helix dashboard. So in such cases, if you're using these kind of visualizations, you may need to reimagine how you want to visualize the data. What visualization would fit best what you want to represent, right? Now, with this background information, but once we have this understanding how how the features are getting mapped from A to B, let's talk about assessment. And it builds upon what all points we have talked about in the last two slides. And the number one, so I've not listed all of the parameters that can be assessed, but then we are looking at only the ones that have most impact on time and effort of this migration. So number one, of course, is total number of reports. What is the volume that we are talking about? Next is what type of visualizations are we talking about, right? So whether they are supported visualizations, whether we have something that cannot be done automated way. So like I said, we need to reimagine something. Also, what type of reports are these? So in the sense, do we have co-display reports? Do we have reports with multiple visualization, single visualization, and so on? Based on this, we can then talk about the complexity of report. So for instance, if you have a report which is co-display, then one of the factors affecting the complexity would be how many child reports it has, how many embedded reports it has. And in general, there are other factors like how many calculated fields did you have, um, how many advanced DP functions are you using, and so on. So all of these will need to be accounted for when you are trying to assess the complexity. Next is how frequently the report was run, how frequently it was being used. This is essentially going to tell you what is the priority of that report, how important that report is to the consumers when you cut over, when is it next that you're going to need it. So there would be some reports which are highly used every day or weekly. So all of these, of course, become your top priority reports. And there would be reports which nobody has used in last 6 months. So again, you can take a call whether that reports is worth putting time and effort and migrating, or maybe is it a priority report? Can it be done later? And next, we also need to keep an eye on some of the other features, how many dashboards we need to migrate, how many broadcasts are there, how many drill down, drill throughs are there. Now, how do you do this assessment? So on the right hand side of the screen, you can see a lot of SQL queries listed over here. This is from BMC documentation page. All of these SQL queries are going to give you one piece of this assessment. So you will have queries to get number of reports, you'll have queries to get what type of visualizations are being used, what is their quantity, and so on. It talks about you can get much more granular data than what I have, the 5 point that I have listed. Now, let me show you a sample assessment report that PS did for one of the customers. It uses the same queries. We just tweak it a little bit to make it easy, make the assessment little easier. So you can see all the factors that we discussed in the previous slide. All of these factors are uh, what we are looking at we are trying to look at in this particular assessment. So we have 90-day hit count. Now, every organization is different. Every organization will have a different cutoff that they want for migrating their reports. In this particular assessment, it was 90-day. You may want to look at only 60 days, or you may want to look at 120 days. It's a decision that you'll have to make. What is the cutoff? We'll talk about public-private little later in the session, why that is important to assess. Then we have the chart type, what type of visualization we are using. In case there are visualizations that cannot be migrated, then what is our action plan? So we need to understand that. Next, 4 columns which have different counts, like count of database functions, count of calculated fields. So all of these counts are going to give you an indication on the complexity of that report. And the next one is if that report is part of our dashboards. So smart reporting world, like I mentioned, so there we had reports and dashboards. So we are talking about report linked to a dashboard. And finally, the count of broadcasts, how many broadcasts are set up there. Okay, so once we have done that assessment, there's another aspect that we need to think about in terms of what tooling we are going to use for what type of reports, right? So there are different ways to migrate. Number one is using the migration tool. Um, Number two is using Visual Query Builder, and we are going to see a demo of it in later in this session. Number three is you manually move the SQL query over to Helix Dashboard. There are pros and cons to all of these approach, and there are different use cases where you would want to prefer one over the other. So this is what we are talking about in this slide. So now, one option is that you recreate the report, and there could be multiple reasons why you would want to recreate instead of convert the report as is. And recreation is generally when, let's say, visualization is not supported, the one that you were using in Helix Dashboard. Oh, sorry, Smart Reporting. So in Helix Dashboard, you are creating the report fresh. The other reason could be you want to redesign for tapping into some of the new features. So for example, now you have access to both worlds, ITOM as well as ITSM. In a true service ops fashion, you want to create a new report which merges multiple reports that earlier teams were looking separately. So that could be one of the reason, or it could be increasing the performance. There was a report that wasn't working too well, so this is a good opportunity. We can redo it. The other option is that you convert as is, and that is recommended when you have really lot of reports and you are crunched for time. So we want to take as much as is, and then focus only on the some of the crucial reports to recreate them. And other reason could be you are really happy with the report, you don't want any changes there. Now, based on the complexity of report, how big the report is, how complex it is, we can choose one path over the other. So when you're recreating, the first recommendation is always see if you can use Visual Query Builder. Most use cases you can use Visual Query Builder, but in case you want to work on the SQL query, you want to make changes, the way it is structured, maybe it is really complex SQL that requires manual intervention, then maybe SQL migration could be, um, you know, um, another way. The other option when you're converting, so conversion again, Visual Query Builder is still recommended way. But then if you're crunched for time, you can maybe run through migration tool for most of the reports. And like I said, only for the top priority reports, consider if you want to use the tool or you want to use other options. And where the migration tool doesn't work, then manually migration is the way to go, especially for the complex ones. All right, let's put everything all together. So we've talked about prepare phase. So we're done with the awareness session. That leads us to assessment. We talked about the assessment. How do we go about doing assessment? That leads us to filtering and prioritizing. And that goes back to the cutoff and the frequency of your report usage. So if there is a report that's really high priority, that then you would of course consider it as your pilot phase, part of scope of your pilot phase. Whereas if you have a report that's not really been used in last many months, then you can take a call whether it's a low priority report or whether at all you want to migrate that report or not. And we'll talk a little bit about that in learnings from the field. Now, next is once you are done defining scope for a pilot phase, so you have top priority reports that you want to put most focus on, then you go in, do an analysis and assessment. What do I mean by that is essentially what we talked about in the previous slide. Do we want to recreate it? Do we want to migrate as is, or do we want to reuse something else? And When I say reuse, uh, essentially we are talking about out of box reports. Nikhil talked about all of those interesting reports that are shipped along with the product. So you can take a look at those. In most cases, customers find something or the other that already does what they were looking for. So there's no real need to migrate. So that is what we mean by reuse. Once we have we have done this analysis and planning, we get into migrate and validate. So that uses the combination of different approaches we talked about earlier. So Visual Query Builder, tool assisted, manual. Now, if there are a lot of reports, then first step would be tool assisted conversion. You see what tool can do. And for some of the reports where you don't want to use the tool, then it has to be done through the other ways. But once the tool is done, then you can take a look what needs to be retouched, what can be done differently. So like I said, this is a sample strategy. You may want to do it very differently. You may want to go um, you may want to redesign some of the top priority reports and not no tool at all. um, so assuming that somebody is using tool, this is a sample approach, sample path. Uh, it goes iteratively, like I mentioned. So until your end users are happy with what they are um, looking at, you go back to the migration team. That could be your in-house team, you guys, or it could be somebody working with you from outside, professional services of BMC or a partner. Once this is all done and users are happy, the report makes sense to them, we go live with that report, do a cutover and knowledge transfer, which ends the pilot phase. And then you can pick the next set of priority reports, and it goes in these waves. Let's talk about a few learnings from the field. The number one that we have seen across all customers is a report sprawl. Very rarely customers organizations have a governance structure around reporting. So pretty much everyone is creating report what they think works for them. What ends up happening is over a period of time, over the years, a lot of reports are created which are not being used, which were or maybe used just one time and then nobody's using them. Or there would be a lot of duplicate reports. Somebody created a copy of report but then they didn't do anything with it. It's still lying there. So there is a lot of uh, chunk volume lying over there. And the assessment is the way to identify these reports. So once you have all this, and then you can take a call. Do you really need this report or not? The number varies, but I've seen that ranges anywhere from 50% to 80%. So depending on organization, every organization is different, but it goes as high as 80%. So 80% of reports not being used, only 20% in use. So it varies. So please do the assessment and take a call. The next one is redundant reports. So this is the reuse approach that I was talking about in the sample migration strategy. So there are a lot of out-of-box reports. There are community contributed content on BMC Helix communities. So do take a look at those. They may work for you, and you won't need to migrate some of the reports, which can be substituted this way. The other option for reuse is the new consoles within the product. So you have a share ticket console and an asset console, uh, the screenshots of which are to the right side of the slide. Now, in case you have a tabular reports, which is just listing the data in simple tabular format, this kind of a data, ticket data, asset data, then do consider these consoles. Maybe they'll work just fine. They allow you to export the results in CSV, and they allow you to save presets. So do take a look at these as well. Finally, planning of the phases. So what we have seen is, although it's very tempting to just run the migration tool on all of the reports and see how it goes, but again, uh, the real bottleneck comes in the validation phase, because your end consumers can validate only so many. So it's very important that the entire migration is done in multiple phases, with the first phase containing the most top priority reports, so you can put in all the focus that these reports deserve. All right, so here are few customers who have gone through this transition. Reason why I want to talk about this is uh, to highlight that every organization is different. Everyone will have different kind of scenarios. So you might have a situation similar to one of these, or it could be completely different. And how we want to proceed would depend on what is the situation there. So, for example, the first one that you see, which was a large government department, they had really lot of complex reports. So we decided the tool led conversion is not a good approach there, and we did workshop led engagement. So we worked very closely with them, try to understand what they want to represent in those reports, how we can make them better in the new platform instead of taking as is. So out of close to 5,200 reports, 95 top priority reports were picked up for this pilot phase. And we did this migration over multiple sprints of 10-day each. It was through agile way. So every sprint we'll be doing certain migrations. We'll be um, uh, in parallel, UAT would be going on, and bug fixes of the previous sprint would also go in. The next one that you see is a classic case of report sprawl. So they had some 11,000 reports in the first assessment, but then after looking at some of the filtering criterias, only 66,000 were what they wanted to migrate. So remaining 5,000 were not really in use at all. Of these 6,000, only 381 were really priority reports, and so we focused more on these reports, and others were to be done slowly in phases. The last one that you see is a large e-commerce player, and they just uh, uh, they just had a different way of looking at it. So instead of report first, they wanted to go dashboard first. So it all depends on the consumers of reports, what they want to, what are they looking for. So they had some priority dashboards which were looked at more frequently. So they wanted to get those first, and these two dashboards translated to 57 reports overall, including all the linked reports, drill down, drill throughs. And this was also done in a very agile way. So there were weekly conversion iterations and weekly mini go lives, weekly UATs going on. All right, very quickly, I'll walk you through some of the resources that are available to you for taking this journey. First stop for you should be the documentation page. All the information that I talked about comes from documentation. All of that is available. Please do go and check. There are a lot of content available in the Helix dashboard communities. There are a lot of previous webinars, a lot of video recordings available. So please go and check that out. Um, there are a lot of education courses available, so including the prereq courses that you might have undertaken. There are many more, and the new courses are being rolled out all the time. So please go and check the latest ones that are available. And there is a complete learning path that takes you right from the foundation all the way to a certified administrator. I touched upon dashboards community. Uh, it's a really good resource because you can find some of the community contributed um, dashboards also there. So some of them might be useful to you. For example, Kubernetes container dashboard. So if you have a lot of containers that you manage, Kubernetes environments, so maybe that's something you can readily leverage. You can also use communities to raise enhancement ideas, and others can also vote on it. You can ask questions, which is being answered by experts from BMC as well as from outside BMC, other users and partners. Finally, if you need help from BMC in getting things started, you can engage BMC professional services. There are offerings available which help you get started with this journey. Uh, the offering includes architect who does the workshop to understand what the landscape looks like, what you're looking for, what are the requirements, and then an expert who helps you with the migration, followed by a knowledge transition. So please do reach out to your account manager if you need help with this. With that, I'll hand it over back to Nikhil.
Thank you. Thanks, Abhinay. Let me share my screen again. Just give me a second. Okay, I'm going to play a recorded demo of Visual Query Builder. As I said before, Visual Query Builder is a visual drag and drop tool that completely takes away the need to understand ITSM forms or SQL from dashboards. You can now build dashboards through a visual drag and drop interface that is Visual Query Builder. So I'm going to play a demo recording now.
Hello everyone. I'm going to show you all Visual Query Builder and Reporting Metadata Studio, how it helps to create dashboard very quickly. And as a smart reporting user, Visual Query Builder gives you a similar experience of creating dashboard. So let's see how we can use Visual Query Builder to create dashboards. Okay, so this is our Helix portal, first landing page on the Helix portfolio. I'm just opening Helix dashboard from here. Okay, so this is just my home screen. I'm just closing this doc window. Okay, so I'll just use this first plus button to create new dashboard. I'm creating a new dashboard. I'm just clicking on add new visualization. For getting data from different application, different BMC Helix application, we have okay, so for service management, again, there are three types. Either you can use this form to create, or you can use SQL or Visual Query Builder, these two options. So SQL is freehand SQL, and Visual Query Builder, the one that I was talking about, which gives you a similar experience like a smart reporting to create dashboard. Okay, so I'm just clicking on this Visual Query Builder. It opens this entire screen, and if you see here, the view is selected. And first view is incident management. So if you see, there are many views provided by BMC as out of box, like this change management, problem management, work order, and so on. So for now, for this demo, I'm just going to use visual incident management as a view. This view, when I say view, it's a combination of multiple forms in the AR and also the join and also the fields from that particular form or the column from that particular table. Okay. So if you see here, there are categories like we call this as a fields. Okay. So incident management and these are all incident related. Then we have some which are like only the date type. So if you notice the icon represent that this is a date and time type of field. If you see here, these are the submitters. So it's a string, okay, a string text type of. Then priority is again enum field. Okay. And similarly, we have some which is like total transfer or group transfer. These are the number field. So that way we have the different icons for different type of field. So let's say if I want to generate a report, let's say a simple report, show me the incident number and its priority. I can simply just drag these two fields. I can click on preview. It will show me, okay, the first 100 rows just for preview, what query I have selected. And if I want to see, okay, what query it is getting generated at the backend, I can simply click on this SQL and it will show that. So if I just click on use query, my panel is ready. I can click on apply and I can save this dashboard. That way my simple panel is ready. I don't need to write a SQL here. I can simply use this drag and drop functionality to create a report. Okay. So if I want to do some aggregation, let's say, right, I want priority wise number of incidents, let's say, then I can use these aggregate functions. So depending on the field type, there are some aggregate functions associated. So if I click on this now, this will show me the count of incident number based on the priority. This is aggregation function on top of some field, right? We just need to use this three dot and use these functions. If we don't want to use field and then aggregation, there are some predefined calculated field which are like similar to this. Let's say count of incident will give you, if I want to have count of incident, I can simply use this number of incident field, calculated field directly as well. Okay. So I'll just remove this. I'll click on preview and use query. So now this is showing me data for all priority. Let's say I want to filter this data based on the priority. So I can simply add this priority in the category, in the filter, and I can use these values. So as this is enum, we pre-populate the values for it. So I can simply say critical. I'll say preview. It will just show me the data only for critical. When I click on apply, this panel will show data only for critical priority. This visual query builder is like mostly used for creating a query and getting data into the Helix dashboard. Rest all functionality like visualization, all schedule, everything will be same. So there is no change in user experience for that. It is same for all. Now, let's say I have created this panel, but there are use cases where we need a variable or a filter, right? So we can use Visual Query Builder as a filter as well. So let's say I want to create a filter for priority. I can simply say enable query editor, and this will open. This will show me the UI for Visual Query Builder. And here I want to create a filter for priority. So I'll just drag and drop this priority field here in the selection, and I'll click on preview. So these many values. Here I cannot drag multiple things because for variable, it requires only one column. So only one field I can drag and drop. We can have some functions to it. We can add filters even in the variable that we can do, but only one field in the variable. Okay. So I just click on use query and my panel is ready. Okay. If I click on apply, if I go back to dashboard, this will show critical, high, low, medium as a filter, and I can use that here as well. So how to use that? Earlier, with the SQL mode, we have to add that variable reference in the query. Now with the Visual Query Builder, we can simply use this button. Instead of default values, I will use template as priority. I'll just remove this. I will just click on preview. And now this will show data for critical because first selection is critical. If I switch to high, this will show data for high. If I switch to low, it will show data for low. So this way we can link variable in the VQB as well. Okay. So yeah, these are the Visual Query Builder options flow. If I also want to show you a few more things, like there are multiple out of box dashboard similar to incident management. Also, this list will show some custom dashboard as well. Let's say if you have any customization done on the AR side and that is not covered in these out of box views, then we have to modify these views, add our customization, and again publish that view to Helix dashboard so that report editors can use this view. For that customization, what we have another application which is reporting metadata studio. Okay, so to get that studio, what you can do, you can just simply go to administration, then general, then you will see a tile for reporting metadata studio. Okay. From here, you can use this download button. It will download one zip file, which is a Windows application, Windows standalone application that you need to execute or run on any Windows server where you have the casing setup with AR database. Okay, because this tool will need a connectivity between Helix dashboard plus AR database. Okay, for that we can configure casing and some of the details which are required. You can get it from here, right? This AR host and port. These are some dummy values because these are the casing gateway host and port. Okay. You can simply use this copy to clipboard button to copy these values. Okay, so now if we talk about reporting metadata studio, so I have just downloaded this zip file from Helix dashboard and I extracted that. It shows me this particular folder, reporting metadata editor. Here we have this BMC auth configuration. And in this, we have to just do a configuration for my ADE information. Okay. So what is my ADE tenant? That information I can quickly get from here, from the portal. this is my tenant URL, this is my tenant ID, this is my tenant URL. Again, AR host and port, this is the casing configuration. So if I just show you, this is my casing configuration file where I've configured this host with this IP address and with this port. So that way I've configured this, and those details I've mentioned here. REST endpoint, this is a platform URL which you can get it from Helix dashboard. Like go to connection, open this particular BMC Helix data source, and inside this there is a platform URL. From here you can get this information. Environment alias, you can give any. For now, I'm using this for demo, so that's why I'm given alias as a demo. We can have QA, prod, or dev, any name we can give. This is just a alias. Okay, so this is the environment file. Then we have profile file as well, where we need to mention key and secret of the user who is a reporting admin. Okay, so I'm using this user, IUR user 2, and he is an administrator. Rather, instead of reporting administrator, he is a tenant administrator. And for him, how to get the user access key and secret? So on the Helix portal, if I go to my profile, then I have this option, right, to get my access keys. From here, I can simply click on add key, and I can give some name, and I'll generate my access key for this account. This key has two parts. One is access key, and another one is a secret that we can that we can copy and paste in this file and save this file. So with this, all my reporting metadata studio configuration is done. I am ready to open reporting metadata studio. So what I will do, I'll just open this reporting metadata studio in the edit mode. Sorry. Yeah. And I'll just open this batch file. Okay. Reporting metadata studio requires JDK, OpenJDK 17 and above. I have just configured 17 here on this server. This will like do authentication with the respect of your access key and secret, and opens up this UI. So whenever you open first time, you'll see like this blank screen. There is no connection, nothing. This is our first landing screen for reporting metadata studio. Here we have some option. This is a Windows normal application, which we can use to modify view. Okay. So before we modify, we can get these out-of-box views plus the custom views from Helix dashboard. So if you see, these are all out-of-box dashboard provided. These are all custom dashboards which I have created on this setup. Okay. To start with any customization, we have three options. Either you can take any out-of-box dashboard, do the modification, save it with some different name, and publish to the Helix dashboard, and your view will be ready. Or else you can create from scratch. Just click on this new and start creating your view. Or third option is we can use this sample metadata view as a baseline where we have only two table and few columns from that table and one join. So that we can take it as a reference and extend that according to our according to your need. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take again incident management, same view. I'm just clicking on OK to import. It asks me to save this model with some name. So I'll give 1009, INC 1009. Click on OK. Now, what this reporting metadata studio will do, it will actually download this view from Helix Dashboard. As being this Helix Dashboard as a SaaS application, all the views are stored at the SaaS or the S3 level. Okay. So it will download that file, load that file into this reporting metadata studio, and we are ready to modify this particular view. So if you see, this is our out-of-box dashboard, which consists of HPD help desk, association, base element, task, impact areas, work log. These many tables are already added, table or form, included in these views. This line shows the relationship between these two columns. This is like hierarchy of the relationship. This is A and this is B. And if you mouse over, you can see the relationship between all these uh, tables or forms. Okay. Before we start, I just need to create a connection to the database. So I'm just opening this connection, database connection. This is a generic database connection to the AR server. Okay, it uses this URL which we pre-populate depending on the configuration in that environment file. Only thing is user need to provide username and password. So I'm going to use same user, right? And I'm just clicking on this test button to verify if my connection is ready. Okay, so my connection is on. I'm clicking on OK. And now I can use this button to import the table. Okay, so here, import table. Now what I need to add one column, one new table in this view, and one column from that table. So for that, I'm just using this import table. This will show me all the tables from the AR. This list also includes all the customization done into the AR system. So just for demo, I'm going to use HPD statistics as a column, which is not there in this view. I'm just selecting that. I'm clicking on OK. Now, if you see, my table is added here as a physical table. Okay, these are all physical tables. Now, in this business model, we have to add this new table as a business table. So I'm just clicking on add new business table. I'm selecting this, and now this HPD help desk, HPD statistics, which was physical table, now it added as a business table. Now I need to add relationship between these two. So I can click on new relationship. I'll say HPD help desk of incident number. Let's say incident number. Let me just get that. Incident number and HPD help desk statistics and its instance counter. With this, I'm going to join because I know this schema. So I'm going to join these two table with the inner join. So I'm selecting inner join and I'm clicking on OK. So if you see, this line is generated and it shows the relationship between these two tables. I'm just simply saving this, okay, just to preserve my work. Now, after you save this, okay, this will take some time. Now, what next? I want few column, which I want to use it as a field from this statistic table. So what I will do, I'll just add new category. Okay, I'm just, when I say category, it is the folder which we have seen uh, on the Visual Query Builder. I'll say stats, and new folder is created. I'm just going to add few fields. Let's say status in this particular stat folder. I'll say user. I want user. I want company. I think that's all for now, just for a demo. And I'm clicking OK. So if you see, these three fields got added. And if you notice, like these are all the fields which we see on the Visual Query Builder in this same order. So I'm just clicking on save again, just to save. Now my changes, whatever the changes that I wanted to do as a customization in out-of-box dashboard, that is done. I just want to verify my changes and verify my join. So here we have this query builder. We can use this query builder just to verify the changes. Okay. So I'm just selecting, okay, incident number I want, which is from HPD help desk, and I want these three fields which I have added, which are from HPD statistics that I have added. I can simply click on this SQL and see, okay, how is the join created. So if you see the join is correct, also the columns are there. And I can click on this run button. So, okay, so it will show me some data as well. So first 5,000 rows for the preview purpose. Okay. So now I'm happy with all my changes that I wanted to do in the view. I'm saving this one more time just to not miss anything. And next step is, as this studio is on my Windows machine, I want to make this view available for all the reporting user, right? Report editor. So what I have again published to Helix dashboard option. And here I can see demo. And this is the alias which I have given in this file, right? The alias. So here we have this option as well, configure tenant environment. Let's say there is a use case. You are creating this view on the dev environment. You test everything on the dev environment, but you don't want to create a view again on the QA or on the prod. You just want to publish this to QA or prod, right? So in that case, you can configure another tenant environment by using this option, and then give some different alias and select that name to publish your view. Right now, I have only one, so I'm just selecting this demo. Okay. It is asking me for some name, so I'll give the same name, INC 1009, today's date. I'll simply say, okay. Now, what it will do, this reporting metadata studio will again generate an XML file, check the authentication, like the reporting metadata studio authentication, upload this file to report to Helix dashboard. Okay, so this is now upload is done. It shows this is available. So if I go back again to Helix dashboard and if I try to create a new dashboard using VQB, okay. So let's say I am a viewer or report editor here. Now, if I want to use the views which is created by admin, so I'll just say INC 1009. Okay. So this view is available for me, and I can see, okay, stat folder is also I can see here. I'll again create same report on the VQB as well. Let's say incident number, status, user, and company. And I'll click on preview. This will show me again a similar result. Okay. So this way we can do customization in the reporting, in the out of box views, or we can have the different views depending on all our customization done in the AR database. So yeah, that's what I. Hello everyone. So I'm
Okay, with that, let's get to the next section of this, next and rather the last section of this workshop, which is a product roadmap of Helix Dashboards. So let's step back for a moment and understand how AI is changing the way all of us interact with enterprise software. Most people use AI in their personal lives. Think of ChatGPT, Gemini, or all other tools where we have opportunities to use AI in our personal lives. And this is fundamentally shifting end user expectations about enterprise software as well. And this fundamental shift is this is going to have a significant impact on how end users prefer to interact with enterprise software. So the old way for requesters in the service management world was for requesters to log into portals to or email the service desk or go to a portal to raise a service request. The new way is a just a Teams channel or a Slack channel where you use that channel to interact with the service desk. The old way was to hop in and out of multiple forms in various browser tabs. The new way is for IT workers and other knowledge workers to have a fleet of assistants that they can call upon to act on their behalf and serve their customers. The old way was to wait for a data analyst to become available to build dashboards. You needed someone with special skills to understand the underlying database schema, to understand the best ways of visualizing data. The new way is to delegate these things to AI agents that can generate dashboards on the fly. So all of these changes are fundamentally changing how we all interact with software. And at BMC Helix, we are fully aware of these changes and we are proactively taking action to make sure that we incorporate sufficient capabilities in the BMC Helix suite to take advantage of AI. So we've come up with a number of actions in our Helix GPT solution. So Helix GPT is a range of range of agents, agentic AI solutions that focus on several actions. In many of these solutions, end users will converse with the system and rely on it for service. You will rely on Helix GPT to summarize incidents, knowledge articles, insights from your data. You'll use Helix GPT to predict incident clusters, groupings, and so on, recommend best actions, how to what's the best action to take in a certain situation, and so on. A whole lot of automation, as well as you'll also use Helix GPT to create knowledge articles, create dashboards, reports, and so on. So we have Helix GPT agents across the entire spectrum of AI service management and AI ops solutions from BMC Helix. All of these agentic solutions are listed below. Insight Finder is one of them, and we'll talk about Insight Finder in a moment. All of these solutions natively connect to your data, whether it's not just your Helix database, that is Helix Service Management, but also your knowledge repositories like it could be SharePoint, Jira, BMC Helix solutions, other ticketing systems, other operations management solutions. You'll also uh, be using other trained models or other large language models such as OpenAI or Gemini or Llama and so on. Insight Finder is the solution, the agentic solution that focuses on generating dashboards using AI, using a conversational interface. We have simplified interaction between the user and Helix GPT. As an end user or as an analyst, all you have to do is express your need, your use case for analytics through a conversational interface, and Insight Finder responds with a dashboard. No skills required. All you have to do is explain clearly and succinctly what you want. So this is the basic skill, generate a dashboard based on a conversational prompt. As we go ahead, as we progress in the future, we'll graduate to higher level skills such as generating context aware prompts. We're already doing this in a limited way, but we'll expand this, how you can use AI to help you generate prompts that you can use to analyze data, generate narrative summaries. So Insight Finder will not just generate a dashboard for you, but it will analyze the data in the dashboard and draw inferences, generate human readable summaries of the data. Finally, we will also graduate to a level where Insight Finder can recommend corrective actions. What can you do to recover from a situation where things are not going as expected in terms of your service management or operations management goals? Insight Finder will be able to recommend you what actions you should take to correct your course. So Helix GPT Insight Finder is the one area where we are significantly investing. This capability was delivered as controlled available in 25.2, and in 25.3, in a few weeks, we plan to make it generally available to all our service management customers as well as AI ops customers. Developing dashboards through a conversational interface. This is the capability that will be available in the first release, and in the future will graduate to other skills that I just talked about, detecting outliers in the data, not just generate dashboards, but also use that data to identify what's wrong with your data, summarize insights, execute dashboards for end users. They'll be able to use Insight Finder to find dashboards that meet their needs and also have them refreshed. Since Grafana is the engine, the dashboard engine that powers Helix dashboards, we upgrade to a recent version of Grafana more than once every year. Our last upgrade was 10.4 that we did a few releases back. We will be upgrading to 11.2 in 25.3, and we also plan to upgrade to the next milestone, which is 11.6 in an upcoming release. I talked about Visual Query Builder, a drag and drop report designer that completely takes out the ability to write SQL from generating dashboards. This will help grow the usage or adoption of Helix Dashboard development to more users than just your data analysts. Visual Query Builder relies on views. So there's a view that draws the boundaries around certain areas within ITSM, such as incident management, problem management, change management, knowledge management, and so on. So we have shipped several views out of the box. You can develop your own views. You can extend the capabilities of out of the box views to include your custom forms, your custom fields, or your custom applications as well. On the roadmap, we plan to develop views for archive data. Recently, we have started and we have started enforcing archival of ITSM data, and to facilitate that, we have started shipping views for archive data. Incident archive is already available to you, and we plan to deliver views for archive data on problem, change, work order, service level, and so on. Metadata Studio is a developer tool that you will use to customize our out-of-the-box views to include your custom forms, custom fields, and custom apps. These are some low-level details about Visual Query Builder. In the interest of time, I'll skip some of these details, but over the past few releases, we have added the ability to add more operators, more functions in Visual Query Builder, as well as more filters. So all of those things that you can, not all, but most of the things that you can do with writing SQL, you will be able to do using Visual Query Builder. We've started enriching the semantic layer that used by Visual Query Builder to include the descriptions of fields, and these are necessary for Insight Finder to understand the schema of ITSM and use that understanding to convert natural language prompts into database queries. Role-based access control allows your admin control over who gets to access dashboards, and it also allows you to create custom roles. We ship 3 roles out of the box: admin, editor, and viewer. But you may have certain special needs which don't fit on any of these. You don't want to give admin access to everyone, but you want to give some users, some power users, more access than just a report editor. With role-based access control, you'll be able to do that. We've made several improvements to developing dashboards, handling word wrap, handling carriage return, and so on. All of these have been made to our BMC plugins, such as BMC table, BMC record details, and so on. Several other improvements to improve the usability of the BMC table plugin have also been made. PDF exporting, we know that almost all customers prefer to export their dashboards in PDF or Excel formats. And in recent releases, we have made several improvements to make the PDF exported dashboard almost identical to what you see on screen. So exporting all rows, making sure that the way the dashboard looks on screen and the way it's exported to PDF is almost identical. Scheduling is another area that most customers rely on, and we have done several improvements over the past year or so. The ability to configure multiple FTP connections from within Helix dashboards. Sometimes we've seen that some customers inadvertently deleted schedules. So we now have enough guardrails in the product to ensure that if someone tries to delete schedules, it becomes a little harder. You can't just accidentally delete schedules now. We've made it a little harder in the interest of protecting your schedules. Conditional scheduling, you can now schedule a dashboard such that the schedule is executed only if it has data. So if it's blank, the schedule is not executed. Allowing BCC. In scheduling, this was another recent feature whereby you may want to have certain recipients not known to the wider distribution of a schedule. So these people will remain hidden, but they will receive a schedule report. There are a few other improvements on our roadmap, such as reassigning schedules to another user. This can be useful if the person who created schedules leaves the organization. You can now, you meaning the admin, can then reassign those schedules of existing dashboards to a new user. Dynamic recipient scheduling is another feature whereby the list of recipients of a schedule is not static, which is the case now, but it's generated dynamically as the result of another dashboard or another another panel. You can now receive formatted reports in your inbox. So PDF, CSV, XLS, these are the three formats that we supported earlier. Now you can also schedule your report such that the report is not attached to the email, rather it appears in the body of the email. So it's an HTML formatted dashboard. Audit Trail allows your admin visibility into all significant events in the life cycle of dashboards, folders, and schedules. So who created dashboards, who modified them, who created folders, modified them, and so on. MSP support, we have started supporting managed service providers for across service management as well as operations management. So if you are an MSP who serves external customers, you can now use Helix dashboards for offering access to your customers. Same with ITSM as well. We continually deliver out-of-the-box dashboards. These are the dashboards that we have shipped over the past few releases across IT service management and IT operations management. Usage dashboards allow your admin to have access to insights into how Helix dashboards is being used in your company, which dashboards are most commonly used, who is using them, who are your top users. So you can identify your power users, you get visibility into active and inactive schedules, and so on. One roadmap item here is to give your admin visibility into not just which dashboards are used, but also who are the users who are viewing those dashboards. License usage dashboards is another roadmap item which will give you visibility into your license compliance. This applies only to SaaS licensing, service management and operations management SaaS licensing. You'll be able to compare the licenses you purchased with your actual usage. You'll get details of licenses as well as storage. So if you're by default, you're granted 4 terabytes of storage, what's your actual usage? Will you need to purchase additional storage? Are you within compliance for your licenses and so on? All of this will be shown on these license dashboards. Localization we support localization across several languages that are commonly used across our customer base. We have supported French, German, and Spanish for a long time. Sometime back, we extended support for Canadian French and Canadian English. We also shipped a framework, a localization framework that allows you to translate dashboards into any of these languages so that the same dashboard when viewed by someone in English, it appears the way it's designed. But if it's viewed by a user whose profile language, their preferred language is Spanish, then they'll be able to view the dashboard, including the data and the labels in Spanish. These are some useful links and past recordings of webinars and workshops that we have held in the past. As we have said at the beginning of this workshop, we may not have any more workshops, but if you have colleagues who wish to attend a webinar, they can always view a recording. We will share with you a link to this recording. It will be shared on BMC community so that you can view it again and you can share it with your colleagues who may want to view this in the future. With that, we are at the end of our prepared presentation, and now let's see
Would you like to go to
what
the
questions
Q&A?
we have.
Yeah, I'm just gonna start unmuting everyone. If you want to stop screen sharing, because then we can go through the questions. We can start
Yes.
getting those answered. So if you want to stop sharing, because I may need to share something myself, Nicole. So thank you for the questions that have come into the chat. So the first one, obviously, Nico, I can see you're answering. I'm not sure who this is from, but they were
Yes.
asking if there's any plans to make a visual query builder available in BHOM. If you can answer
I
that
can answer
question.
that.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll answer that question. So Visual Query Builder has been developed specifically for service management. We have seen it was developed as a tool to make it easier for customers actively using smart reporting to transition over to Helix Dashboard. And since this was a capability in smart reporting, we developed this. With BHOM, we don't feel the need to do this because there's already a very simple way to design dashboards for BHOM and other ITOM products from BMC Helix. Yes, thanks, Yadira, for your feedback. We will share with you a link to this recording as well as the slides that were presented today. Okay, Ajinkya, I guess the next question is for you from
Yeah,
Richard.
so last one, actually, Nikhil, I need some more information. So I was just waiting if Richard can talk about more on this question.
Sam, can you unmute Richard?
Yes, let me just find Richard. Apologies, I was still going through the names. Richard, you can speak. You have got your unmuted. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Hello.
On one of my hello.
Mhm.
On one of the report I'm running, when I set the variables and having a value, it's a Notepad plus plus. When I select Notepad plus plus, I got no result on my query. But I figured it out. It's because the plus in the Grafana script, you just see it as a union term. Basically, it's a reserved characters and it's not handle it. So basically, I need to inside my variables to handle the plus sign, to change the value, to remove the plus, and I need to do the same inside my query. So after that, when I filter for have a notepad plus in the non-filterable, it will work. But it's happened the same times as when you cross tables and you have one of the value, it's a null, is not reflecting the good numbers, and it's creating a lot of problems. So basically, every time you set a variables and you have a null value on it, you must handle it to get the right totals.
Yeah, so variable and panel queries are two different entities. Okay. So whatever the values those are returned by the variable, those values only will get replaced to the panel query. So let's say you have one variable for, let's say, company, and that company has, let's say, 10 values. Whatever the user value is selected by the user, that value will be replaced in the panel query, and that panel query will get executed on the AR database. So if the value is having some special character, we can enclose those values into the double quote or a single quote. So there is a BMC single quote advanced function
Yeah,
available
but
on the variable. So
yeah,
that we
but
can use.
in the variable, that is coming from the value in themselves. Because basically I say, give me all the value in the company. And one of the company have a null value, we will never show it. And if I say, give me all the null, it's not reflected on the total numbers. But it's also included in my selections. And it's happened the same for the plus signs and everything. So I don't know how you wrote the code in the background, but it's missing some things for, say, that is a reserved word from the beginning to the end for the value.
Okay, sure. Yes, Richard. Maybe we can check this through one case. If you can raise one case for this one and mentioned, like we can discuss with, you can mention my name and we will discuss on this one in more
Yeah,
details.
if you want, we can set a meeting and I create a dashboard to explain the situations. And maybe you can go through that and you will figure it out what's happening. But I figure myself how to handle it right now. But basically, I just say as soon as you encounter a plus sign in the result of the value you selected, I will rename it some things. And if you have some other word, I will. If I have a null, I rename it to an A. And if it's not that case, I just say keep your value because you're good. And that way, it's in my variable. It's allow me to filter. But also I need to handle it into my query also, because if I select NA, it's not a value, so I need to handle the same way in my query for get the result of it.
Yes, correct. Yeah, that is the way, because as I said, right, variable is a different entity and panel is a different entity. So those
Yeah,
are getting
I
executed
figured that
differently.
out. I figured
Yeah.
that out.
Okay.
But it just because it's as soon as you put the variables, it will affect the panel also, because basically all the null value was not count, and that's happened when we try to count some things on the how many incident we have, and we have 100,000 difference between with some value we have. It's a null value, so we basically exclude all of them. That's represent over 60% of the case, and say that's not working when we want to create a dashboard and represent the entire view of all the cases when we lost 60% of them.
Okay, sure. I think I'll check on my
Yeah,
setup as well.
we can
And
talk
also,
outside this, and I can show
yeah,
you. But I want to understand if you have a better way how to manage that, and how to avoid. And if you have other characters, also it's not taken considerations, and figure it out uh, how to handle everything basically, because that's what we use a lot in our report. Because we never work with the small numbers; we always work with the huge numbers, basically in my sections.
sure, definitely. We'll review it offline. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Thank you very much.
Problem.
Okay, let's give Emily a chance to speak. Her question is not clear. Sam?
Everyone's been unmuted. Nikhil, I'm just seeing, is she still there?
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, we can.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello. I am actually using Reporting Metadata Studio right now to build a custom view, and I'm finding a lot of challenges using the tool. I already have found the Creating Customized View website in the documentation. However, is there any more information beyond that for dealing with unique situations, such as creating a calculated field without bringing a source field over? What are the limitations of calculated fields? Do we have any ability to use keyboard shortcuts or direct typing instead of using the mouse and clicking and pointing?
Okay. Emily, I think it may help if let's have a call to understand your details between you and Ajinkya. Let's schedule a call where Ajinkya can help you with these questions. Would that be okay?
Yes, it would. Thank you very much.
I'll pass on
Sure.
your details,
Yeah.
Emily. Yeah.
Thanks.
Did you want to take the next question, Nikhil? And I can see Ganjan's got his hand up. We'll come to him after if you wanted to take the next question.
Hello, hope I'm audible.
Yes.
Okay, so like I got this question from multiple customers that like based on even I asked in the question answer window as well. So customer asking the question that like is there any way we can restrict the dashboards, specifically dashboard, not in terms of the data based on the organizations or the company. Nikhil answered this question, but is there any plan in future that like are we planning to restrict the dashboard based on the organizations or based on the company level? Is there any plan?
No, this is not planned. However, as I responded to your questions, even if the dashboard is visible, if a user does not have, or let me put it this way, users will see data only based on the companies and organizations that they have access to. So even if they see a dashboard, they will not be able to see the data. That you can be sure of.
Okay, thank you. I'll communicate accordingly in future.
Sure.
Thanks for your
Thank you.
question. Do you want to go back to the questions, Nikhil?
Okay. Richard's question, did we answer this question? In filtering will affect the number of aggregate count. So we'll need to manage it into the query to report the right tag.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's part of the
Yeah.
same problem of under the no value.
Okay, we did answer this. Okay.
This is also we are having a meeting.
Yeah. Yes.